The trolley problem has been known to be extremely difficult for anime cosplayers and children under the age of 8, not because they aren't smart enough to solve it, but because they can't pronounce it. Google claims that there's no easy solution to the trolley problem, but on this channel, there's an easy solution to everything. The nice thing about the trolley problem is that it doesn't actually require any math or any prior knowledge to solve, but it does require some thinking, which might make it harder for children, and also anime cosplayers. There's a train, and it's barreling straight towards a group of 5 people. Now, in the original problem, the 5 people are tied down to the track, so they can't move. In this depiction, they also can't move, but that's because I don't know how to animate them. Now, imagine you are watching this situation from far away, and the only thing you can do to stop it is to pull a switch next to you, which will direct the train onto a different track, and that person will get run over instead. Would you pull the lever, or would you do nothing? You might notice that the answer seems really obvious. If you could save 4 more lives by pulling the switch, you should be pulling the switch every time, and you'd be right. But this right here is not actually the answer to the trolley problem, because this isn't even the full trolley problem. This is only part A in a series of questions that are supposed to trick you up, but luckily for you and me, they're all multiple choice, and they each only have 2 options, so it should be a piece of cake. Part A is, would you pull the switch to save 5 lives versus 1? Part B is, would you actually? Now this question's kind of offensive, since it assumes you were lying in the first part. Nonetheless, the correct answer for most people is no. In real life, if you were out there next to the switch, it would be way different. The train must have a sensor, there must be automatic safety mechanisms. The people will somehow escape, might mess something up, might go to jail just for trying to help. That last reason makes the least sense, considering a 2D stick figure could easily escape a jail cell. But don't feel bad if you end up not pulling the switch. When faced with a life or death decision, the body either goes into fight, flight, or freeze mode. After a quick evaluation, your body will probably decide to freeze and wait for someone else more qualified to make the decision. If you're built different, then the correct answer is yes, you would pull the switch. Now, let's move on to part C, which is called the Fat Man. Instead of 2 tracks, imagine there's just 1 track, with the train about to hit the 5 people. This time, there's no switch you can pull, but you're standing on a bridge over the tracks, and you have the option of pushing a heavy man off the bridge onto the track. He's heavy enough to stop the train and save the 5 people, but he will be sacrificed in the process. Would you push him? Most people immediately say, no, I wouldn't push him. Technically, if you pushed him, it's still saving 5 lives and sacrificing 1, which is why academics might say, but the situation is mathematically equivalent. But what academics forget is that when people instantly respond no to something, it's because their brain is using its moral calculator in the background at 100 times speed to make a quick and accurate decision, which most of us know as a gut feeling. Your gut feeling rightfully decides that there's many reasons not to push the guy. First of all, in real life, that plan would almost never work, as trains can't be stopped by 1 person, and being accurate with that kind of push is also very hard. Second of all, even if the plan was guaranteed to work, it would still be a very painful and undeserved fate, cause this guy isn't even on the track, he's just minding his own business. Remember, in the very first situation, the guy we sacrificed was standing on the track for some reason, so he kinda had it coming. Lastly, if it was a thin man, he wouldn't be heavy enough to stop the train, so you would only push someone sufficiently fat enough. But to any people watching, it would seem like you think a fat man is disposable, but a thin man is more valuable. Not a good look for you. So part C is pretty easy to answer. No, don't push him. Part E is kinda complicated. Imagine the 1 track with 5 people on it, but right before that part, there's a little extra loop with the fat man on it. You can pull a switch that'll make the train hit the fat man, which will stop the train and save the other 5 people. Now, again, academics might say you should pick the same answer you picked in the previous one, because it's mathematically equivalent. But this is different, cause 1, pulling a switch is way more reliable than trying to accurately push someone onto a small track. 2, this one looks less bad on you. And 3, the fat man is on the track this time, which always implies a risk of danger. In the last question, he was minding his own business, but this time, he's fair game. The answer is yes, pull the switch. On to part F. Let's imagine the original scenario again. But when you pull the switch, the train will derail, and it'll end up hitting a guy sleeping on a hammock in his backyard. Again, this is mathematically equivalent, but the human brain likes to minimize danger, and derailing the train could obviously make the situation even more dangerous. Plus, the guy in the yard was peacefully asleep, and neither him nor anyone around him will ever know that he saved 5 lives, so hitting him with the train would be kinda mean. The answer is no, don't pull the switch. People say this next part is the hardest version of the problem, so let's see if that's actually true. A transplant surgeon has 5 patients who each need a different organ to keep living. Sadly, there are no healthy organs available. Suddenly, a random healthy guy comes in for a random checkup. This guy could technically provide all the 5 required organs. Should the surgeon knock him out and steal his organs to save the 5 patients? Again, this one is also mathematically equivalent to saving 5 lives for the price of 1. But the human mind knows to classify the 5 patients who are missing an organ as fair game, and the healthy guy as not fair game. It's not about saving the most lives, it's about doing what's fair. Final answer, don't steal his organs. So far, all of these have been pretty easy to answer with just gut feelings. Academics might be angry about how easily we solved the last few, which might provoke them to try and stump us with one final question. How many criminals would you sacrifice to save a Nobel Peace Prize winner? This might be hard for a lot of people, but personally for me, it's pretty easy. Even if the other side of the track was empty, I would still hit the Nobel Peace Prize winner, so I could take the medal and run. There's no particular reason, except I think it would be pretty ironic to get the Nobel Peace Prize by causing needless death. Anyway, I'm taking donations in the form of subscribes to fund the next video.